I put up on the wall, back then you saw a twinkle in my eyes, but now you see nothing at all. So how could something so perfect fall apart so quick? And how could the man I once loved all of a sudden make me sick? Because you see, he hit me, he hurt me, he lied to me, and he betrayed me. I vowed to stay by his side through the ifs, ands, or maybes. When he first put his hands on me, mentally I was fucked up, because this was one of the few men who actually had it together. I thought I had lucked up. So in denial, I blamed myself for causing all the fights. And wanting us to be happy, I backed down from situations when I knew I was right. So late one night, right after I tucked our little girl in bed, in walked my drunken husband. I have no idea what was going through his head, because for some unknown reason, an argument erupted. That night it was time to fight that. Time to say, fuck it. The fight started off in the living room, then down the hall past our daughter's room, through the dining area, and we ended up in our bedroom. There the fight escalated as my screams became louder. Time ticked away as minutes felt like hours. I knew I had to do something, and I had to do it fast, because this fight we had tonight would surely be our last. I mustered up enough courage to crawl towards the bed, snatched his gun from underneath the mattress, and placed it to his head. And for about half a second I was ready to put him out of his misery, but I felt two cold, innocent eyes staring right at me. I glanced away for a second and noticed our daughter standing at the door, and I knew it was time for me to say, we can't do this anymore, because I couldn't, as a mother, let my only child believe that this was the way real love was intended to be, because if we continued on in this manner, then she'd end up just like me, and this is not the type of stuff that a little child should see. My thoughts began to race. This was the moment of truth. I was sick of all the arguments and tired of the abuse. I had to do something, and I had to do it quick. This nightmare could soon be over with just a simple click. But what was I thinking? This was my child's dad. She's so innocent, and we're all that she has. I looked at her, then back at him, then back at her again. Oh God, what do I do? And how do I make this end? And while my eyes were focused on her, considering this man's fate, he suddenly launched forward, and I pulled back too late. We began wrestling over the gun. His hands were wrapped tightly around my wrist. He tried with all his might to get the gun out of my grip. Daddy, don't hurt her! Daddy, please stop! Suddenly the gun went off. Blood seeped from her pajama top. I cried out in agony. Dial 911. I ran over to her and held her in my arms. I told her I was sorry, pleaded for her to hang on. My prayers must have went to heaven a little too late, because a few moments later, my daughter was gone. I looked at my husband looked at me. I'm sorry, he said. The blame's all on me. But I'm going to make this situation right, the way it should have been. Say I love you to my family, and for what it's worth, you were my best friend. And before I could process what he was saying, before I could process it to myself, he picked up the gun, and then he turned it on himself. And just like that, he was gone too. So what does that leave me at? Here, talking to you. Get out while you can. Your life is at risk. Because I had to realize, I had to see it for myself, that it's impossible to love anybody